You don't chase pain because you enjoy suffering. You chase it because it feels familiar, and familiarity has a strange way of disguising itself as desire. That's why some people can walk straight past peace, stability, and genuine connection, and still feel drawn back to what drains them, to the relationship that hurts, to the person who keeps pulling away, to the pattern that leaves you anxious, doubting yourself, and questioning your worth. This isn't a weakness, it's conditioning. Your nervous system doesn't seek what's good for you, it seeks what it recognizes. And if chaos, inconsistency, or emotional distance were present early in your life, your mind learned to associate intensity with connection, struggle with love, and pain with meaning. In this video, we're going to break down why you're drawn to what hurts you, how that pattern quietly keeps you stuck, and what actually needs to change if you want to stop repeating the same cycle in different forms. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding yourself clearly enough to finally choose differently. The first reason you want what hurts you is simple but uncomfortable. Pain you understand feels safer than peace you don't. Your mind is wired to prioritize predictability over well-being. If emotional turbulence, inconsistency, or rejection were part of your early experiences, whether in childhood, past relationships, or formative moments, your nervous system learned to treat those states as normal. So when you encounter someone who is calm, emotionally available, and consistent, it can feel flat, boring, almost suspicious. There's no spike, no tension, no chase. And because your system has been trained to associate intensity with connection, peace doesn't register as love. It registers as emptiness. On the other hand, the person who pulls away, keeps you guessing, or gives affection inconsistently activates something familiar. Your body recognizes the rhythm. The highs feel earned. The lows feel like something you need to fix. And without realizing it, you mistake that emotional volatility for depth. This is why logic alone doesn't break the cycle. You can know someone is bad for you and still feel drawn to them, because attraction isn't coming from your conscious mind. It's coming from conditioning. Until that's addressed, you'll keep gravitating toward people and situations that recreate the same emotional environment, just with different faces. Understanding this isn't about self-blame. It's about realizing that your attraction patterns were learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. The second reason you want what hurts you is because struggle creates false meaning. When something costs you emotionally, time, energy, self-respect, your mind starts assigning it value to justify the investment. This is a psychological trap. The harder you work for someone's attention, the more important they feel, even when their behavior is damaging. Inconsistent affection is especially dangerous. When love is given and withdrawn unpredictably, your brain releases dopamine in irregular bursts. That's the same chemical pattern behind addiction. You're not chasing the person. You're chasing the relief that comes when the pain temporarily stops. One good moment feels like proof it can work, even if the pattern keeps repeating. This is why walking away feels harder than staying, even when staying hurts. Leaving means admitting that the effort, hope, and emotional labor didn't lead anywhere. So instead, the mind doubles down. It tells you, if I try harder, explain better, prove more, then it will finally change. But the truth is, the chase doesn't create connection. It creates dependency. Healthy relationships don't require constant proving. They don't demand emotional endurance tests. When you're calm, secure, and chosen consistently, you don't need to convince yourself it's real. If pain is the price of entry, it isn't love, It's conditioning. The moment you stop confusing effort with value, the attraction starts to loosen. Because real connection doesn't drain you to keep you invested. The final reason you want what hurts you is because part of you is still trying to resolve an old wound through a new person. When pain feels familiar, your nervous system mistakes it for safety. Not because it's good, but because it's known. Chaos you recognize feels easier to stay in than peace you haven't learned to trust yet. This is why healthy attention can feel boring or uncomfortable at first. There's no spike, no anxiety, no emotional roller coaster to ride. And to a nervous system trained on instability, calm feels empty. So you drift back toward intensity, toward people who trigger you, because that emotional charge makes you feel alive, even if it costs you your peace. But here's the shift that changes everything. You don't heal this by finding someone different. You heal it by becoming different. By learning to sit in calm without sabotaging it. By choosing consistency over chemistry and self-respect over emotional highs. The moment you stop chasing intensity, your standards change. And when your standards change, so does who you're attracted to. You don't stop wanting what hurts you overnight. You stop when your nervous system learns that peace isn't a threat. That being chosen doesn't require suffering. And that love doesn't have to be earned through endurance. When you heal the pattern, the pull disappears. Not because you forced it, but because you outgrew it. If this resonated, it's because you're starting to see the pattern clearly. Not just in who you choose, but in why you choose them. Awareness is the first real shift, but it only matters if it leads to action. Healing isn't about blaming the past or hardening yourself. It's about rebuilding your standards, your nervous system, and your identity so you stop repeating the same cycles in different faces. If you're learning how to break old attachments, choose peace over chaos, and rebuild yourself properly from here, subscribe to the channel. This is where we turn insight into discipline, and discipline into a different life.